We got everything cut. We're going to turn to using what's called a rotary drill sander. It's got a piece of used 120 grit sandpaper on there, which is fine. This is plastic, so you don't really need to use a fresh piece of sandpaper if you don't have one. As long as there's a little bit of grit left on it, which there is. What we're going to do with this rotary sander, we're going to sand down the top part right here so we can see where our joint's at, free and clear on this pipe, and figure out where we need to go to pry this pipe off. Basically, put your rotary drill sander together, turn it, put it over the top of the work area, like this, and just sand it down. Alright, so now we've got the top sanded down, I'm going to make these lines a little bit darker for y'all to see with my pencil. We can actually see the lines right here, where the inside of the flange is connected to the outside or to the inside of the pipe. What you want to do is you want to take this flange and you want to kind of pry away the inside of this flange from the inside of the pipe. And if you have a pencil, it's good to make the marking, so that way it's going to help highlight your area a little bit better. Especially for those who don't do this often like I do. It's going to help you out to see how far you need to cut and where you need to go from there. So as you can see, some of our cuts right here and here and here aren't quite far back enough, but almost, but this one is. So you don't want to go any further back on cutting past this line right here. So that's also the reason why you want to darken it up. You can use it for a point of reference. If you cut past this line, you're going to cut into the actual pipe itself, which can cause the actual pipe itself to degrade. So we're going to finish cutting out these areas here that we need to cut out all the way back, and then we're going to go ahead and pry the inside out. Now the rest of the tools, we've got all this cut out right here. Everything's cut all the way back to the wall of right here, but not past it. We still got our line marked so we can see it. Now the rest of the tools we're going to need are a razor blade, a couple small to medium sized chisels if you have them. If you don't have them, you can use what's called a 5-in-1 or a painter's 5-in-1 tool. These have both the 5-in-1s because they carry a scraper blade here, usually a cutting blade on the side right here. This is to help clean your rollers if you're a painter. This is a nail puller, and on the back of it is kind of like a hammer in case you got to tack something in. This one just happens to have a couple screw fittings for screws to pull out if needed. Not your cheapest 5-in-1, one of your more expensive types made by Quinn. You can get it at Lowe's for about 15 bucks. But yeah, we're going to be using these various tools to help cut the rest of this out and pry it loose from the inside. First thing you do is you go along your line and you start cutting away with your razor blade. Use your knife. You don't got to cut far, but you just kind of want to break that seal along that line where that line is that we made with the pencil. You don't want to try and go fast. Go slow and steady. Gently does it. This is going to help cut that top bead off. As you can see, it's already starting to pull loose in some areas, but you just want to continue to go around, cut your top bead off. So that way it's going to help break that top bead. It's going to allow us to get down in there a little bit better. If you scrape the side of this, that's fine. Just don't scrape it too much and try not to cut into it, because sometimes it's hard to do when you've got an area like this and a razor blade. So once we get it all cut around here, this is already worn out, but still we're going to run the blade across it like this, cutting it out. So now that we've got everything cut out, we're going to go ahead and proceed to start working on prying this thing loose. And that you can use your 5-in-1 spreader and a hammer. So this is a 22-ounce cobalt framing hammer. You can get it at Lowe's for about $25. One of the best hammers I've ever bought. I use it for not just framing, but all kinds of stuff. And these chisels you can get at Harbor Freight. It's Windsor design. It's the Windsor Group chisels. These are made of chrome vanadium, which is chrome vanadium, which is the best type of chrome you can get when it comes to chisels and things like this. It's the hardest, most highest quality available. You want to make sure your chisels are sharp too, because you're going to need these to kind of help pry this away, and we're going to show you how to do it. Rest this on top of the countertop real quick so you can kind of see. If you got a 5-in-1 right here, you can do it this way. You can take your corner, just kind of strike it on the side a little bit like this, and that's going to help drive down into the back of this like that. You see how it's coming apart? Okay? And then you just go around it like this. Just drive the corner down in there. It doesn't take hard hits, just small light taps just to drive that corner down in there, and you can start seeing that everything's starting to break free and pry loose on everything, which is what you want. So that's how you would do it with a 5-in-1, okay? And you just keep doing this with your 5-in-1 until you got it all the way around, until you got everything loose, and then you can take it your spreader, and tap it off, as you see, like that, with that 5-in-1. As you can see, we've broken off a piece. We broke off a piece of the pipe on the inside, but we did not damage the inside. So it's kind of a method of how you would do it. And you can do the same with your 5-in-1, or you can do it with your chisels. Now with the chisel, it's a little easier. You kind of want to start with a smaller chisel. Chisels have got a flared end right here, which is a 22-degree flared end. That's going to help separate the pieces. And you just take your chisel, drive it down into here, into the wedge, like this, and just go around it, tap it lightly with your hammer. And as you can see, we just broke off that piece. And you just continue doing the same, like this. Now that piece is broken off, like this, and like this. Now, as you can see, all the pieces are broken off on the inside. We got a little bit of scarring on the inside right here, but that's okay. We didn't cut through the pipe, and the pipe wall is still sound. But as you can see, all the pieces on the inside are broken off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sand down the inside here to remove any glue, smooth out any burrs, and then we're going to take this piece, take this pipe right here, and we're going to throw it inside like that and glue it back together. So that way you got your new flange in place. Got our piece of sandpaper right here. Again, this is Craftsman brand. This is a P120 sanding disc that you would use for an electronic sander. Doesn't really matter what kind of sandpaper you use. You can use square sandpaper, cutaway sandpaper, cut your own sandpaper, plumber sandpaper. You just want to make sure the grit's what counts. You want at least a 120 grit or higher, because that's going to help smooth out the inside right here and help smooth these burrs out and create enough surface roughage for new glue and stuff to adhere to it. And you always want to do this part by hand. Don't want to use an electronic sander because it's going to be hard to get down in there. I use the round ones because they bend a lot easier than square ones. And you just sand it down by hand, just like this, all the way around, until you get all the burrs and stuff sanded down. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a few minutes sanding this down. So we got our well clean, our sides clean, ready for the new piece of insert. All right, so here's the inside of our pipe. As you can see, it's all sanded down. We've gotten all the burrs out on the inside. If you got a little burrs out here on the outside, that's fine. It's not really important to get those off. But the point of sanding this down beforehand is kind of eliminate those burrs. But as you can see on the inside here, we got all the old glue off. We've got all the old debris and buildup and stuff off. We're down to a nice, clean, clear pipe all the way around, which is what you want, because that's going to give you good glue cohesion throughout the pipe. So that way, we got a little burr right here, no big deal. We'll just hit that with the sander a little bit more before we put the other piece in. But that's going to give us what we need to put the rest of this pipe in, or put this flange in. All right, so as you can see, we got that burr off now, so that's a good, nice, smooth surface. That's gonna give us good cohesion. And obviously, we got debris down in there. So what do? Go down there, make sure you clean your debris out. You can pull it out with your hand. You can pull it out with pliers. If you've got a shop vac, you can pull it out with a shop vac. But these pieces are a little too big for a shop vac to handle, at least the one I have with me. I've only got my little small Craftsman, which is right there, small Craftsman 5-gallon shop vac. It's not going to handle these big pieces, but I've got a larger shop vac that would. Then you just grab these big pieces out. Go ahead and pull out whatever you got down inside here to block the drain off, which kept the other debris and stuff from getting all the way down in the drain. Again, you can use your hand to pull it out, pliers to pull it out, whatever you want. Now we've got a nice clean drain line, and then we're going to take the shop vac. We're going to vacuum around all this stuff again and clean up any other potential debris that might be down in there that may have escaped our little plug right here, which is just rags. So that way we aren't plugging anything up in the old drain line, causing the drain to back up later on in the future.